Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back for part 3 of the door panel rebuild. When I left off with you guys the last time, I had one panel resined and I had one wrapped and ready to go, I believe, if I remember correctly. Well, I had some technical difficulties with my camera. I ran out of memory, and I think maybe I deleted some footage I didn't want to delete. But hey, things happen. So anyways, we're back. It's kind of a overcast day here today. A little on the cool side, but that's okay. We'll get some stuff done. So stay tuned, and I will be right back with you with what we're doing. All right, so this is where we're at. This was the first panel that I resined, and I don't believe I got anything on film, but I got this one layer resin on this one too. So I'm about ready to start laying some chop mat on these. As you can see, I got various lengths of chop mat, different size squares. I got a whole bunch of it pre-cut up. Now we're going to layer this whole thing with chop mat. But since I got them resined up, I went ahead and cut out my holes, and I made all my trims where I want it. And I went ahead and snapped armrest and window controls in just to see if I had the fit and trim that I wanted, and I do, so they fit. Now on this one, the only problem I had, which I didn't have on this one, it lifted up on me a little bit here, and that's my stupid fault because I didn't staple any of this, didn't even think about it. But on this panel, it held down really well. So we'll doctor this one up here. I mean, it doesn't move much, but we'll get this one doctored up. I'll figure something out. But this one's all trimmed up and ready for chop mat as well. So we'll get ready to mix up some resin and do that. Now, like I said, I went ahead and I chopped out, or not chopped out, I cut out all my holes and did all my trimming everywhere that needed to be trimmed on these, because that's when you want to trim and do your cutting. After you got one layer of resin on, that's the easiest time to cut it and get it to where you want to go, because once you start getting more layers of resin and more layers of chop mat and other things on there, it becomes very hard to cut. Now these holes, these don't look great right now, but that's okay. We'll work with this, because once we get some more resin on here and some chop mat and stuff, once it sets up and dries, we'll hit this with a Dremel or something, and we'll smooth these out. We'll sand these out, and these will look real good. So with that, we're going to get ready to start laying some chop mat on this. So I'm going to get some resin mixed up, and we're going to lay some mat. Okay, I got my resin mixed up, and I'm got my brush, and I'm ready to go. Now I also wanted to show you guys, you don't have to buy expensive brushes. I go to the dollar store and buy these. You get 4 of them, 1.5 inch down to 1/2 inch. You can get these for I think $1.80 at the dollar store, Family Dollar, I think it is. And one-time use, really, but they work. What I need. Anyways, this is what we're going to do. I'm going to lay down. Section here. Get this good and spread. Now I only mixed up about 8 ounces of this, because I don't want it setting up on me too quick. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lay that down. I'll make sure it sets there. Now this takes a little time. Now there's also a fiberglass roller that you could use for doing this, but I don't have one of those, and it speeds up this process. But this is fine right here. What we'll do is we'll get this good and wet, and we'll dab it. Make sure we get all the air bubbles out. Now just like that, now I'm going to cover this entire panel. So like I said, I mixed up about 8 ounces. I'll work as far as I can, and then I'll mix up some more. All right. So I got a layer of chop mat on. It took a little longer than I thought. But yeah, I got pretty good layer on there, I think. So we'll let this set up and see how it looks. I'm about out of resin, so I'm going to have to buy some more resin. I'm trying to step back here. Get you a better shot of it. But that one's basically done. We'll let that set up, and like I said, I'll check it out. Still got that one to do. I ain't going to get it tonight. It's almost 8 o'clock. And I do this in the evenings after work. So I only get 3, 4, and 5 hours of work done at a time. And these are time-consuming panels, or any door panels, especially full ones or 3/4 ones, I guess you call these ones. They take time. So we'll let this set up overnight. I'll pick some more resin up tomorrow after work, and I'll get this one chop mat on it. We'll let those both set up, and then we'll knock this down with the sander and figure out where our low spots are and start going from there. And like I said, I don't know if I told you in episode 2 or part 2, whatever, but I'm going to try the Rondo method with these, the cut down on the finish time, whatever you want to call it. But anyways, once I knock this down with that and find my air pockets and get those taken care of, because there will be some in this, I'll mix up some Rondo. We'll spread some Rondo across the entire thing, and then we'll let it set up, and we'll see how it works. So I'm going to call it a night tonight. We'll come back out tomorrow, get this one done, and maybe some sanding. We'll see. So I got this one all chop matted up. 1, 2, even 3 layers in some spots. This is going a little longer than I want to today, but that's because it's a little chilly outside. So this is taking a little longer to set up than it normally would, but that's okay because I'm not rushing. I'm trying to make sure I get this done correctly to the best of my ability. So I'm not too concerned about this one, whether it hardens up in the next 10 minutes or the next 2 hours. I mean, it's slowly starting to set up, but like I said, I'm not too concerned about it. So we'll jump over to this one here, and we'll start getting some sanding done on it, and we'll knock down the high spots and see what we got to work with. So that's where we're at now. Oh no, I mean, so far so good. I'm rushed, but I'm not rushing myself to get this done. I've still got just a little less than a month before Slamology, so I'm not getting too excited yet. So here's where I'm at with the sanding. I've got all the high spots knocked down. I got a couple spots I got to fix. I kind of burnt through it a little bit, being a little too aggressive. But all in all, it's shaping out the way I want it to. I started taking and smoothing these out instead of making it or having it look rough there, where I just cut the fleece out. So it's coming along. A little bit more work to this, and I think it'll be ready for some Rondo, or peanut butter as somebody else calls it. I'm not going to name names, but you know who you are. But we'll get out of whirl. This is where I'm at, and this is this is a couple hours worth of work here. Finishing is not my strong point in doing this. I'm getting better at it, but the finish work is where it's really at. Last year, failure. I rushed the finished part of it, trying to get it ready. You know, and I put them on, the doors on like 3 days before I left for Slam. So I got a little more time to do it today, tomorrow, next week, and a week after. So I'm just taking my time. I'm not in no big rush, because the finishing work is where you really need to do all your finesse. But like I said, all in all, got all the high spots knocked down. Still got to clean it up and work on some of these air pockets that's in this. Some of those are low spots that the Bondo dust is one in. I got to blow it out real good. But this is a couple hours worth of work. Now the other panel, take you in here. It is all done with shop mat. It's all dried. It's set up pretty good. Like I said earlier, it's a little cool and a little moist today, so it wasn't setting up as fast as it normally does on, say, a warmer day. So I did take the heat gun to it and encouraged it just a little bit, not a whole lot. I did it for about 5 minutes all over the whole panel, and then I walked away from it and started working on my sanding. And that must have just been enough, because it really set up, and it's hard. So I'm going to do a little more sanding on the other one. I'm not going to mess with this one today. Do a little more on it, and I'm going to call it a day. It's Mother's Day. My wife was so kind as to not give me any slack. She gave me a pass to come out and do this today on what would be her day. But we have ate one dinner already. We're going to eat another dinner with other family. It just got here a little bit ago. So I'm going to wrap it up on this other panel and go eat some dinner. And we'll pick this up tomorrow. So we're back after a couple day hiatus, the general life things. So I'm getting ready to knock the high spots down on this one. It is all set up, and I believe actually this one turned out a bit better, I think, as far as this stage anyway. This one here, I got it all knocked down, and I got my holes straightened up, and that one's basically ready for the Rondo technique. So I need to get that blowed off real good, but I'm not going to concern about that today. I'm going to get this one knocked down, like this one, get the hole straightened up, and then I want to do the Rondo at the same time on them. So we're going to get this one knocked down and see what it looks like. So I got this one knocked down, all the high spots and whatnot. So this one, as well as the other one's about ready for the Rondo filler. What I'm doing now is I'm just going through and finding some of these air pockets, and if they're not that deep, I'm cutting them out. That way the filler can get down in there. Some of these ones are deep. I ain't going to worry about those, but some of these are on the surface, and we're going to try to just get in there with the box cutter, kind of pick them out. Like I said, some of them that are deep you ain't going to worry about. Just get down in there and cut it out. That way the filler could get down in there. Like so. But anyway, this one's almost ready. The other one is ready for Rondo. So I'm going to finish getting these some of these air pockets out, and then we'll get this thing cleaned up real good and blowed off, and I think we're about ready for some Rondo. Okay, my first experience with Rondo. It's not as easy as I thought. Yeah. My first go round, I think I put a little too much body filler in and not quite enough resin. I mean, it is self-leveling. There's a lot of spots that I was like, whoa, and then it's kind of filling itself in. So we'll see how this goes. Like I said, I think I put a little too much body filler in it. I don't know if there's actually a true perfect mix ratio. I do see some like little pinholes popping up. But as long as I only have a few, that's not a big deal. We can fill those in with some putty. But we're going to let this set up and see what it looks like. You know, like I said, my first experience with it, not as easy as I thought. But I mean, I guess you only learn one way or another. Now up here, I intentionally did this onto the actual panel because my thoughts are, and I could bugger this up, I don't know, is I'm going to try and blend that in to the panel here, and I got some ideas on how I'm going to finish that. But I mean, what is done is done. I can't go backwards now. So we'll let this set up and see what it does. Hopefully I got enough hardener. I mean, it's going to set up regardless, but I don't know. Not as easy as I thought, but it does bring out quite a bit of detail, more detail than I thought would be brought out. We'll see. Real quick, as before I put these away here for the evening, I took a few minutes and checked out the SprayWayCustoms channel again and watched his video where he's applying Rondo to a door panel. And I feel a little bit better now because these don't look too much different than his finished product after he put the Rondo on and it dried and set up. Because it still needs to be sanded, obviously, and I forgot that he says that he uses a DA to knock down further high spots. So after seeing that and looking at these, I feel a little better now. So maybe I did it right, but that's to be seen. So I haven't been able to work on these for 2 days because I just got home from work after working 25 out of the last 33 hours, which was not fun couple days at work. But anyways, so these have set since then. So it's had 2 good solid days of curing time, and they're solid as a rock. But looking at these, this is the first one I did, and I'm thinking maybe I had that mixture a little too thin. I think I had that one a lot better, but it is what it is. So I am going to get the sanders out and we're going to knock down the high spots on this, and we will see how they look. But all in all, not too bad, I suppose. This is one place I was really concerned about, especially with it saddling down in there, but it worked out pretty good. So we'll get these knocked down and see what they look like then. I'm a few minutes into sanding here, and it ain't going too bad. I think what I've learned with this whole Rondo process, because this is a learning process, so I ain't saying I'm no expert at this. I don't think I put it on as thick as I should have, just for the fact that there is some spots, and I mean, I know it's going to get back down to my original fiberglass, but I got some imperfections I'm seeing already without primer that I think would have filled in better had I put it on a little, or not put it on a little bit thicker, but made the Rondo mixture a little thicker. Because like I said, it is thicker on that one. I know that for sure. So once I hit that with the sanding and get it knocked down, I may find that the imperfections and pinholes and stuff are not as bad with that one. I don't know, but it may end up being worse. But all in all, it ain't too bad. You know, like I said, this is a learning process. You guys are learning with me. And that's, you know, kind of another reason I do some of these videos. I'm no expert, but I try it and we'll see how it comes out, and you guys can apply what you see from me and don't do the mistakes I'm making. So we're going to keep working on this, get this one knocked down. It should take a whole lot longer, and then we'll see how this one goes. I got this one all rough sanded down, all the high spots knocked off, and I went ahead and I went around and hit all the obvious low spots and filled those in with some glazing putty. Now this may look like a lot. I don't think it is a whole lot, really. You're going to have pinholes and some imperfections. It's going to happen. But I went ahead and hit the obvious ones now before I prime it, because once the primer is on it, it's really going to brain it out, all your pinholes and imperfections. Now down here I purposely left some of these. Some of this is actually smooth. But there is some imperfections down here, and I purposely left those because I think what I'm going to do, if I remember to do it, is once I hit it with the primer, I will show you how much it brains out those imperfections. So we're going to let this one dry, and I'm going to get started on this one now. I got this one all knocked down and sanded. Looking over it, I don't have nearly the imperfections in this one that I could see right off the bat that I did with this one, which is fine because this is the passenger door, and if I want any door to turn out the best, it's the passenger door. And you may ask why, because honestly that's the door people is going to see the most. That's the door that people's going to see when they get in and out, and they're going to look at when they're sitting in it for a demo and stuff. So of course I want them both to turn out good, but if any panel is going to turn out the best, I want this one to turn out the best, and so far it is turning out the best. So I'm going to glaze the few imperfections that are in this one. It's set up on that one, that's all dry now. So once I get this one all glazed up, I am going to sand this one entirely by hand. Get it knocked down a little bit more and get that glaze smoothed out, and then that one may be ready for primer. All right, these stains are ready for primer, and I don't have any. God damn it. And everything local to me is closed today because it's Sunday. So if I need to get some, I got to drive 20 miles to Athens, Ohio to get it, which I don't think I'm going to do that today. But these stains are ready for primer. And here, I'll show you what I did. I blended this in with the existing door panel using some Rondo, because after I had my fleece and it hardened up, and obviously it's thicker and there was a ridge here, so I just blended this in. Now I got an idea to, I was going to sand this whole thing smooth right here and paint it, but I don't want to do that. So I got an idea to blend the texture into this smooth, and I will show you guys if it works. But that is them ready for primer, and then touch up the other spots that show through the primer. Hit her with another coat of primer after I get that, wet sand them down, and then it's time for paint. So this is about 5 hours of work today, between these two panels. This one I already had a start on it, this one didn't, but they are both prepped and ready for primer. So with that being said, we'll call this a wrap to part 3. Thanks you guys for watching it. Make sure you leave a comment, subscribe, whatever. Comment if you like what I'm doing. Comment if you don't like what I'm doing. Comment if you got another tip. Open criticism, constructive criticism. It doesn't bug me. So once again, thanks guys for watching. Make sure to follow me on other social media, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And that's it for part 3. So stick around for the next part, and bass on, guys.